What's up, Pandudes? Peter Von Panda here. Hey, just bought myself this watch. This is a cheap watch. I've shown you some cheap watches in the past, and I love cheap watches. I mean, I'm kind of big into this thing where there's no reason you can't have style on a budget. Watches are more for fashion than they are for utility anymore, and that $100,000, $1 million watches, they're out there. But for I think most people, cheap watches are kind of cool. And this one is, I'll show you the name on there. You'd be forgiven for thinking that this is a Nixon. There are Nixon watches that look a lot like this, and in fact, I would even say you could probably, I would even think it could say on there Noxon as some sort of knockoff brand, but it doesn't. It says, let's see if we can get it. WoMaGe. All right, or is that a WoMaGe? Anyway, so at least it's not a ripoff. I mean, they're definitely not trying to convince you it's anything but a WoMaGe. But what I wanted to tell you here is it's only about $8. $8 shipped. It wasn't the quickest thing ever to my door, but it is a big, stylish watch. It's a quartz movement. There is a little plastic piece here holding the crown up, so it's not moving. Let's see if I can get that off. So we can just make sure everything works. There we go. Put that in. And there you go. It's working. Now, let's see if anything else works on this. There's a couple of fake pushers, and I'm going to point out what a $7 or $8 watch includes. First of all, it has kind of like the polyurethane rubber band. I actually kind of dig it. It's kind of cool. It's very soft and it's very thick. It's at least a few millimeters thick. But in this price, and it has some texturing here, which is kind of grippy and cool. It's smooth on the backside, but you can see here the watch band retaining loops are kind of large, and they are also flexible, and they're kind of slipping off the edge here. So that's one thing I'll point out. The other thing I'll point out is it doesn't really look like these holes are punched out. And again, at this price point, you know what? You may have to punch them out yourself. So I stick it in there, and it's going to go through the rubber, and boom, pop out. Okay? So keep that in mind. You're going to have to do that. That's part of the price you pay. The clasp is pretty thin, but seems like it should hold up fine. And the case is actually pretty heavy. I'm actually kind of surprised by this, but I'm sure this is some sort of painted finish. You can see it's not the most durable. This is the first look. It has a few scratches. It kind of has this dark chrome finish that I dig. The markings on the bevel here are color filled. Let me get this oriented the right way again. In white, so that's kind of nice. I just kind of dig that it has this kind of, just kind of navy blue face and kind of a more royal blue band. Does that make sense? The blues aren't a perfect match, but I kind of like that it's bold, and it's blue, and it's dark, and it's cheap. But these pushers here, as I was playing around with them, look like they do something because there are some subdials here, some complications, but they don't. All right. So first of all, these are all, and you can kind of see that because the hands on the subdials are just pressed into the face. They're raised and then painted in the silver, just like the hour markers and these numbers on the side. So all these subdials, it doesn't really matter what they do. They're there strictly for looks. You can see they're all vertical, and they don't do anything because these pushers don't do anything. The 2, 3, 4 is kind of cool because it's 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, but they're stacked like that. I definitely dig it. I mean, there's a little intention here. I assume this is a mineral crystal, may even be plastic, although it seems a little. Since it's fairly large, you need something with that's going to be structurally sound enough to have a little trouble. I'd say plastic. Let's just chalk it up to that. That's what you're going to get in this price point. The back is says stainless steel back. It's just flat. It's just pressed on. If you wanted to keep this watch running after the battery runs out, you'd have to pry that up and throw another battery in there. It's a red second hand that moves just like that. And like I said, the cool thing is with the watch like this, and with cheap watches in general, you can get some style. They don't have to be stuffy. You can get them for a special occasion like knocking around on a day hike or on a vacation trip. My folks, my parents kind of taught me at a young age that they're kind of notorious for having a few cheap watches and then taking them on vacations. One time I remember they went on a Habitat for Humanity build in another country. I don't even remember where it was. But you're not going to wear a nice watch. One, because you don't want to show up the locals, especially when you're going and trying to do something nice. You don't want to get robbed. You don't want to have to worry about losing it. If it gets busted up or you want to give it away to someone, you certainly can. That's the beauty of cheap watches. I can tell you that this is listed as a 5 centimeter watch, which is 50 millimeters, which is huge. Let me see if I can, that it's big, no doubt. I have 50 millimeter watches. In the Diesel brand is probably the most widely recognized for kind of having these large watches. Nixon too, which has some watches that are really similar. You're gonna be a step down from, say, the quality of a Fossil or something like that. But honestly, this is a decent looking watch for this price point. That's all I can say. If you like it and you want to throw on your wristo WoMaGe, this is the one you want. It's the Blue Casual Men's 3 Eyes Big Dial Quartz watch. Peter von Panda. Out.